welcome to the worst album ever made, a show where I'm on a quest to find out what is the worst album ever made. And today, we're taking a suggestion from the fine people at the Electric Fetus Record Shop in Minneapolis. Thank you. Today, we're going to be covering Hasil Adkin's 1986 album, Out to Hunch. So yeah, I went to the Electric Fetus Record Shop last month. And it was quite an experience. Now, the place was very well organized, it was very clean, and I would say it's one of the highlights of my trip, if not only for the shop itself, but also the amazing service. What happened is I went to one of the people there, and I told them about my channel, and I told them about the kind of stuff I reviewed. I told them I've reviewed the Shags, I reviewed Mrs. Miller, and I told them, is there any just like quote unquote bad music in this shop for you that you would recommend? And he said, give me 20 minutes, I'll find something for you. And in around 20 minutes, he popped up with this. This is Hasil Adkin's Out to Hunch. All right, and when he told me a small description about this after it was like a one-man band situation and the kind of stuff that is featured off this album, I was like, you sir, you just made a sale. This is exactly up my alley and I am so glad to review it. So with that being said, I think it's time for me to ask that question. Who is Hasil Adkins? Raised in Boone County, West Virginia during the Great Depression, Hasil was the youngest of 10 children. While living in severe poverty, Hasil was so poor he couldn't even get his first pair of shoes until he was 5 years old. But still, he always dreamed of becoming a big musical sensation. Growing up, Hasil Adkins as a kid thought people like Hank Williams Jr. just played all the instruments by themselves and it was only a one-man act. So what he decided to do is he would just learn every instrument and try to play them all at the exact same time. And that's what gives him his unique style. In the mid to late 50s, he started cranking out songs at a little makeshift studio and he would locally release this material throughout the 60s and 70s. But it wasn't until the 1980s where he would get his big break with newly formed indie record label Norton Records. So what Norton did for their very first release, what they did is they took all the best singles from Hasil's discography that was only like local hits, and they just took them all and put them into one album. This album right here, Out to Hunch. Now this is a very strange album from a very, very strange man. So without further ado, let's start talking about this uneducated Tupperware artist who kick-started the psychobilly movement. Let's begin. Alright, it's time to start this review right now, so we're going to start with track number 1. We are talking about Hasil Adkin's most famous song. This is She Said.
Well, I was going to tell you what happened. I went out last night, and I got hitched up. When I woke up this morning, should have seen what I had in the bed with me.
This song is very simply about one of Hasil's favorite pastimes. It is about sex. Yeah! But what about sex specifically? Well, it is about this time in Hasil's life where he spent a night with a woman, and he described her flesh as a
guy in Canada that come out on your meat.
Now, with that kind of description, I really don't know if Hasil enjoyed that night or not, but if Hasil's recollection is accurate, we can at least say at least the woman enjoyed that night.
Sound like this. She said, oh, it feels so good.
Now, one of the reasons why this song is so huge in Hasil's discography was because garage punk and psychobilly band The Cramps covered it for one of their albums, Bing, and it kind of gave the public consciousness a taste of Hasil outside of his small little bubble. And that cover is insane too. It's probably even more crazier than Hassel's version, just because the entire time the singer's singing, he just put a whole bunch of crap in his mouth while he's singing, just to give the illusion of this crazy dude, just to give it a little taste of the Hassel. Anyway, that was She Said. Has a great groove to it. And it has its low qualityness, but that's just because it was just in this makeshift little shack where he made all this music. But that's a good bumping jam to what I imagine one of the most hideous and revolting sights known to mankind. So yeah, that was good. Let's continue. Next song is very interesting as well. It is called No More Hot Dogs, baby.
Eat no more hot dogs. I'm gonna put you in, I put it on my wall.
As you can see from the chart in here, we have 3 songs about decapitation off this album and 2 songs about hot dogs on this album. And right here is where this song sits. It's perfect. No More Hot Dogs is about cutting your lover's head off and mounting it on the wall. Well, now my baby can't eat anymore. She can't eat no more hot dogs anymore.
Gonna put your weight on my wall, and then you can't eat no more hot dogs. Oh yeah.
It's a very danceable tune, which is very demented, like in concept. The thing that I want to know is this song sexual? Does Hasil Adkins have a kink with decapitation? Or is the hot dog an allegory for his wiener? I want to know. Or from other guys' wieners. Maybe the whole song, it could be about a woman who cheated on him. He is mad that she cheated on him, so he wants to cut her head off, put her on the freaking wall so she can't eat any more hot dogs. Who's to say? Who's to say? Next song I want to talk about is a song called Chicken Walk. Now, there are a lot of traditional sounding songs of the era on this album, like Rockin' Robin or Truly Ruly. They're just songs that just sounds like they can come from anywhere from the 1960s. And I would say Chicken Walk is one of them as well. And I don't know, it just seems like something that my dad would probably like that. This is around the time that he was a kid, so I'm assuming he would like songs like this too.
Well, come on, baby, I'll show you how. Come on, baby, I'll show you how. We'll do it hot, we'll do it fast. We'll do it hot, we'll do it fast. Come on, baby, do a chicken walk.
Now, why am I highlighting Chicken Walk specifically? Well, Hasil has a very unique relationship with the poultry. Hasil loves chicken so much, he released a whole album called Poultry in Motion, which is nothing but songs dedicated to chicken. And when asked about why does he have a big obsession with chicken, he's like, I don't know, I like chicken, so I wrote about chicken.
Yeah, let's walk, baby.
Alright, what do you think of Chicken Walk?
Oh, that's interesting.
Next song is called We Got a Date. Now, I don't know if freebasing cough syrup was a thing in the 1960s, but it sounds like Hasil's had his fair share. He is absolutely freaking mental on this track.
Hello, baby. We got a date.
We Got a Date is a song about a sadistic psycho who is talking about his date tonight, where he is going to go over and cut his date's head off. It's a very similar motif to No More Hot Dogs. In fact, it's kind of a running theme throughout the album of cutting someone's head off.
Cut your head off without a head to eat.
What even is Hassel's like laugh in here? It's so intense. It's like It has very like spooky horror TV show vibes. Something that would be playing on Elvira or something. Some cheesy B flick. That's the kind of vibe I get from We Got a Date. And Hassel could easily be inspired by those kinds of movies. It has that kind of vibe. Next song is called Hot Dog Baby. The hot dog returns.
Here's a hot dog here and a hot dog there. Sometimes I know it's hot dogs everywhere.
Alright, so Hot Dog Baby is all about Hassel having a date with a very large woman of 450 pounds. Someone who he takes to the drive-in for a date so he can hopefully do it, as he says. And in his own words, she ate more hot dogs than I ever did see. So this woman is pounding dogs left and right, just shoving them in her open maw.
And you know she even eat too many hot dogs, she looks like a hot dog. One of them big king size.
This is the second song about hot dogs. I do not know if hot dog is a euphemism. I have no clue. It could just be hot dogs, like she just loves eating hot dogs. But who knows with Hassel? He has a whole album about chicken. So I don't think chicken's a euphemism, so hot dog's probably not a euphemism. Who's to say? So there are two songs about teenagers and having fun. And that's Teeny Weeny Waddy Kiss, and is also the song that I'm just covering right now, which is High School Confidential. Which High School Confidential is my favorite of the two, and it has a great opening.
Why don't you open up, honey? It's me, your lover boy knocking. Why don't you listen to me, sugar? All the cats at a high school rocking.
It has great energy, and it just sounds like something that you would listen to at a party. And I would assume if this played at any like late 60s, 70s West Virginia parties, I'm sure it would get lots of freaking airtime and people would dance like crazy to it. I mean, if it played now at any party, people would probably play it and have a good time.
Everybody hopping, everybody bobbing at a high school hop.
It's just I'm using this right now to say like Hasil Adkins is not a saint. He does have a 3rd-degree sexual assault charge, having a sexual relationship with a minor. So listening to these songs, I'm just like,
We're just a moving and a hunching and a hunching and a rocking at the high school hop. Woo, well, let's go.
Next song up is The Hunch. Hasil Adkins is the inventor of the dance called the Hunch. What is the Hunch? Well, I saw one video online describe what the Hunch dance is like. So it's something like this, where you like dangle your hands down and then you wiggle. I believe this is how you hunch. It looks like I'm hunching. It is kind of fun to do. In the freaking like trailers that Adkins was performing in, I'm sure it was a very, very big hit at his local bars. Because it's pretty fun. It's a very nice song. I like a lot of these songs off this whole album. It's a pretty solid album. I do appreciate it. Is it creepy? Absolutely. But when you have songs like the Hunch in there, it's like it's a fun song. I can't help but not enjoy it. I gotta say, I wish the guy doesn't have a third-degree sexual assault allegation. But I think I'm going to end this album by looking at the very final track, I Need Your Head. Now, what do you think this song could be about? Kind of like the Ween's the Stallion in the pod. This character that Hasil has created comes back, and he makes you just remember one thing before you leave this album. This guy wants to cut someone's head off. It is like something he just needs to do. It's part of my being to cut heads off, and I want to cut your head off.
You sure that William Hung?
It totally could be William Hung. It is twisted, but also pretty funny. That it's what ends the album too. It's like, okay, now before we go, just a reminder, I still want to cut your head off. Don't forget, it's gonna happen. So this has been Hasil Adkins, Out to Hunch. Now it's time to ask the question I ask at the end of all of these videos. Does this belong on the board of shame here? No, it does not. It does not belong on the board of shame. Too many fascinating tracks, like No More Hot Dogs, even like the weird old other songs on here. It paints a very interesting picture and a very interesting listen that I think everyone should listen to and observe. Even though like the songs like freaking I Need Your Head, This Ain't No Rock and Roll Show, even though those songs are kind of graining, it is very interesting to see the birthplace of the psychobilly movement. This is a very interesting record, and I bet maybe there could be other albums and maybe Hasil's discography that would be worse than this, that would be a better contender than this one right here. I mean, this is the best of his singles that Norton picked, so it would be kind of hard for this one to actually compete with the likes of the Nostalgia Critic and Viper. This has been the video right here. Always like and subscribe. Do the YouTube stuff. Do the YouTube stuff, ding dong, ding dong, bing dong, bell, whatever, freak, yeah. This has been Hasil Adkins, Out to Hunch. I've been Garrett. I never know how to end these, my God.
Hmm.